Hey there, party people. Welcome back. Welcome to the Fireside Chat. It's 86.5 The Vibe. Your boy Jackie C.
And Shade.
And his boy Shade, leader of the Shady Gang, Shady Gang Enterprises, CEO of Shady Gang Incorporated. Doing big things over there, aren't you?
Yes, sir. You know it.
Yes, sir, indeed. How's your water?
Actually,
You been
I'm
drinking
doing pretty
water?
good. I had a band practice earlier. I drank at least 2 bottles then. I drank 2 bottles when I woke up. Had 2 bottles when I had lunch. So I'm probably on about 7 right now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was going to say, you're killing it. I still have to finish this, and then I'll be good to go. If you're listening right now, and you haven't drank your water, be sure to drink your water. And if not, maybe you can drink a little something else while you sit back, enjoy the fireside. That being said, wanted to extend everybody a happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Shay, are you an Indigenous Peoples Day or a Columbus Day type of guy?
I'm definitely more of an Indigenous Peoples Day kind of guy.
Did you see what Trump said about Indigenous Peoples Day?
What?
He said about Columbus Day, he was like, the radical left is trying to destroy his character, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I think what people are saying is you can learn about someone in a history book without, glorifying them, if that makes sense. And with his treatment of Native American, not just Native Americans, but his own people as well, the Spanish that he was leading at the time, because I know he's Italian, but the Spanish crown actually, recalled him back in chains for his cruelty. You have to think that's the same Spanish crown that was, committing the Inquisition not who knows how long earlier. And so I'll leave you all with that. I couldn't believe the president said all that. I'm going to be honest with you. It's just divisiveness. Like, if you like Columbus Day, just say happy Columbus Day. But, like, the whole assault on the left for wanting to, Indigenous Peoples Day, not celebrate. And, to some extent, people argue he was a product of his time, and to some extent that could be true, but for him to be called back, I just think, that speaks to it, the fact that his time kind of pulled him from the operation. So that's just me. I don't know if you agree or not, Shade.
No, I mean, I think you're kind of hitting the nail on the head there.
Thank you. I definitely try to hit the nail on the head. I don't always, but I bet you I'll hit the nail on the head with this 2-sentence horror we have here. You ready for it?
Always.
I don't think you're ready for it. Are you sure you're ready?
Actually, now I'm not.
You should say aye, aye, Captain. Here you go. The 2-sentence horror of the day is by Cream Cheese 742. My greatest fear was always being buried alive, scratching and clawing at the lid of the casket, knowing I was going to suffocate, until I was awoken by the sound of the crematory furnace door clicking shut. Ooh is right. Would you rather be buried alive or burned alive?
Huh. I think burned alive.
Really?
Because it'd be faster.
I think that too, without a doubt, but I think I'd rather be buried alive. Because I think for me, like, anyway, I'm not a panicker. I'm more of like in my old age, I've become, this calm, laid back person. I feel like I would just close my eyes and talk to Jesus, and I would go out that way rather than, screaming and hollering obscenities.
That's fair. Although probably past a certain point, it won't hurt in the fire. You'll probably black out.
Probably black out from the pain. That's true too. That's definitely true too. I just, like I said, I hate to be screaming off obscenities right before I go see the Lord.
You
Like,
know, it's a similar question to would you rather freeze to death or burn to death? And I always choose the same thing, burn to death. Again, because it's faster. I don't want to freeze to death.
well, you'd lose feeling freezing to death. You ever done an ice bath?
I
Like
have.
from an injury? Ooh,
I hate
sprained my
that
foot. That
stuff.
was terrible, but we're off track. So the quote of the day, this is a really good one. I love it. Kind words don't cost much, but they accomplish much. And
That is a good one. Who said that?
that's an excellent question. Blaise Pascal.
Okay.
I really like that. And I think that's something we could all try to live by. So I'm going to challenge you all to try to think of two things you like about the other party. Because I believe we can all gather around the fireside together, regardless of our, political beliefs. I believe we can, find a way to be kind. Humans have been gathering around fire since the caveman days. And so I want you all to try your best to think of two things you like about the other party.
Well, why don't we try this exercise as well?
I'm not going to lie to you. I figured you might say that right as I started talking. And I have one.
Okay.
I definitely like their commitment to,
Now, which party are you talking about?
well, it was an independent. I guess maybe I should do both. But
Right.
I definitely lean left at this point. So yeah, I would say the thing I like about the Democratic Party is their belief in science, their commitment to combating their quote unquote commitment to combating climate change, and I like their belief in like humanitarian ideas. Like John F. Kennedy said, we should end war before war ends mankind. It seems like every time there's a vote on either a military budget increase or even a war, it seems like the only people who ever say no are Democrat. And so, although to give Trump credit, he did avoid war in Syria and in Korea. And I don't know that I could say the same for Hillary, to be completely honest, especially since she said in one of the debates that Assad has to go, which is French for we're going to be in Syria the same way we were in Iraq for a ridiculous length of time. And so if I had to think of two things I like about conservatives, I would say I like their commitment to guns, actually. I don't know that I like how far right it is, but I definitely am a huge believer in protecting yourself and being able to be armed. And I'm actually, even a believer in, conceal and carry and even open carry, I believe folks should be allowed to, a gun is a tool. And as long as the person is responsible with it, I have no problem with a person carrying a gun wherever they want to go. So that's just me. That's the first thing I'll say that I like about the other side. And then I guess I like, quote unquote, their commitment to their quote unquote commitment to dealing with the deficit and the debt. I believe that if climate change is the greatest threat to humankind, the greatest threat to America is not a person, but it's our debt. And so I like them for their quote unquote commitment to that, despite the fact that nothing has changed with it since 2016 when Trump came in, and spending's actually gone up, the debt, the deficit, all those things. So, but I like their, like I said, quote unquote commitment to it. So, news item of the day. ACB's confirmation hearing started. Shade, thoughts on that?
I actually have not seen her confirmation hearing. How is she doing?
So they just had their opening thing. So she just spoke, and I think she's doing a really good job of, like, she's making herself likable and presenting herself as a human. Like, she introduced her whole family, all her kids, and I didn't know this, but She has a kid from Haiti. She adopted an orphan after the earthquake, whose parents, I guess, were killed in the tragedy. And so I thought that was really good on her. And I'm trying to look at it with her confirmation. I'm going to listen to the whole confirmation hearings with an open mind. And then I'm going to read, some of her past opinions before I come up with the judgment. But I thought it was interesting. Patricia O'Hara from Notre Dame endorsed Kagan too. And she says that they both advance the rule of law over personal policy preferences, and they preserve the court, not wings of the court. And I thought that was interesting because a lot of conservative justices, quote unquote, while they believe in a strict interpretation of the Constitution, they also have a huge belief in stare decisis, the idea that previous courts' rulings are the law of the land, and they want to uphold those, and they want to continue to judge the Constitution based on previous rulings that were already made by previous courts. And so I found that to be interesting. I also had noted that I did know about one ruling she had made where she said that she thought that the other side was right, but she sided with her side because of deference to a lower court. So I found that to be interesting. But I don't know. I thought to myself, if they like Democrats are really worried about them. So far, the polls are still not in her favor, but they're definitely moving in her direction. I had looked into that, and it seems like since like when RBG first passed, it seemed like opposition was at an all-time high at 50, I think 7 or 8%, and now it's down to like 52%. Don't want to see Trump's nominee go through. So I wonder if that'll go down more as her confirmation hearings go on, or if those will increase. I'd be really interested to see. But Democrats argued that it should be striking down the Affordable Care Act. They didn't really talk about abortion too much, although one senator did talk about his in the news today. He talked about his wife needing an abortion to save her life. I thought that was interesting. But I thought to myself, if they do strike down the Affordable Care Act with no plan, it's going to turn a generation of Americans blue. And if if the right to abortion goes, it'll do the same. It'll do the same thing. And so, but I did have one interesting thought, Shade.
What's that?
I was thinking to myself, I hate when they pull out pictures and they tell like stories and stuff. Like the Democrats did that today. I just feel like it's like I'm a big believer in numbers. Tell me how many people the Affordable Care Act saved. Tell me how much it saved the average American dollars wise. I find it comparable to like when Republicans are like, "Oh, look at this beautiful girl who was raped and killed by illegal immigrants. Oh, get rid of them all. She'd still be here if there weren't illegal immigrants." I get the stories. I do. For both sides. And I find it to be horrific, like I said, with that Republican example. And I find, those examples that the Democrats gave to be, fantastic and all, but they're just stories and they don't tell the whole picture for me. And so I don't know. I didn't really like that. It didn't do anything for me. I don't know about you, Shade, how you feel about that, but
No, I think you're right.
so we actually got a really good poli-sci question of the day.
Oh, interesting.
Can Jamie Harrison win?
Jamie Harrison?
Jamie Harrison from South Carolina. Any thoughts on that?
Well, remind me who he is.
He's the Democrat running in South Carolina against Lindsey Graham.
Against Lindsey Graham?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. No, I don't think he can.
Had the same thought. I thought to myself, hell no, he can't win in South Carolina. Are you crazy? The first state to secede is going to be the first state to have 2 black senators serving at the same time. I was like, that don't even make sense. But, it's a state Trump carried in 2016 by 14 points. But Graham's favorability has fallen, and while it's in the margin of error, it's below his, and they are virtually tied in the polls. Everything is within the margin of error, so it's close. It is. He also pulled in 57 million in the third quarter, which is going to give him an amazing air and ground attack. He's going to be able to do TV, radio, and digital ads. He's going to make it so that anytime you turn on the TV in South Carolina, anytime you turn on any form of media, you're going to hear something about the South Carolina race. And he's also going to be able to do canvassing in person. And he's going to be able to do like Obama, like get out the vote stuff where you pick voters up. Like you have people paid to pick voters up and take them to the polls and drive them home. He's going to have a lot of power. And I think that'll hurt. I think the ads he should do the goal of them should be to paint Lindsey as a hypocrite and also to distance him from Trump. Trump right now is doing better in the polls than Lindsey Graham is. These same polls that people are taking. So there's some people who are saying, I'll vote for Trump, but not Lindsey. If you can get more people to say that, if you can get more people to see the hypocrisy of Lindsey, and I'd even argue if you get people to see how Lindsey Graham has changed, like, so you show him talking trash about Trump, like I said, Lindsey Graham has definitely changed. I would even have Lindsey Graham, I would have one of Donald Trump talking trash about John McCain, and then have, one with like Lindsey Graham, just being Donald Trump's, buddy. Although I don't know if that helps or hurts as far as like getting to distance him from Trump goes. Maybe attaching him to Trump is actually better. I don't know. I feel like you can hit him a lot of different ways because he swung so many times. Like you can, like I said, you could exploit the fact that there's people who are voting for Trump that aren't voting for him and try and exasperate that. You can try to really hammer him as like he's just a Trump crony and try and, get independents and really get out the Democratic vote. I do think one thing that would be cool is if he donated some to charities. I think that might be able to, really sway people, but I'm really not sure. I think he should be stomping the ground constantly, discussing jobs and a stimulus and even a return to collegiality. I think that would be good for him, but I also think it would be good to distance himself from Biden. I know a lot of people are going to be like, man, really? But I think that he should say that he's not going to pack the courts because, like I said, as far as independents go and conservatives who are turned off by Trump and probably turned off by Lindsey too, honestly, they're not going to come out and support you for court packing. And in South Carolina, packing the court threatens their guns. It threatens, I guess, all of the things that conservatives like about conservative justices. And even though you obviously, as Jamie Harrison, don't like that conservative justice stuff, the tough matter of facts are if you say you're going to pack the court, the election's over, 57 million or not. That's just the tough matter of facts. And so I think he also should talk about a willingness, like I said, if you look at the people ready to vote for Trump but not vote for Lindsey, he should talk about the willingness to work with Trump on important issues facing South Carolinians. Now, what that means, I don't know. But you should be able to say definitively, I'll work with the president where I can, I will oppose him where I must, and I will do my best on behalf of the people that elected me to represent South Carolina. And so, what are his chances? I'd probably put him at 40%. I have a hard time. Like, just picture it. The first state to secede is the first state to have 2 black senators. I just don't buy it. Like, I don't know. It would be such an incredible story, though. It's something you kind of want to believe in. I don't know. Shade, what do you think?
I mean, I'd have to agree with you. I can see how he might, but at the same time, I do still think that Lindsey Graham is very strong. She's a big name, and I would still be surprised to see if she doesn't kind of get another term.
Yeah.
But what you're
Yeah.
saying did make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So we got some more marshmallows for you. Some people sent us some virtual dating plus questions. The first isn't a virtual dating plus question, actually. Actually, neither of them are, but we're doing them for virtual dating plus today. The first one, Shade, are you ready? This is going to be a
It's
nice.
a
This is going to be a
doozy.
change up over the plate.
It's an interesting one.
Should DNA tests be mandatory at a child's birth?
Now, a lot of people are going to definitely say yes.
Hell no.
And I
If that's
personally, I'm a no.
if that's the majority, I'm mad. Like,
I don't know if it's going to be the majority, but I know that the people who are about it are going to be very, very about it.
if it's more than 10%, I'd be pissed.
So the problem with it is, and I don't know, it's an interesting perspective, I would say, but you can't just force people to give up their DNA. We have, a right to privacy. We have a right to our bodies. I mean, it's the same reason that I'm pro-choice. Like I don't believe that anyone should have to do anything with their body that they don't want to do, and that should include DNA testing. I don't know. Thoughts on that?
Well, the court can order you to do a DNA test if you're saying you're not the father.
That's true.
But I don't want to sound like a Republican or nothing, but who's paying for that? That's my first question.
That's a big
Who's
question.
paying for that? Every child born in America is going to have a DNA test? That's foolish. That's a waste of money too for most responsible people. Most responsible people know who their baby father is, and most responsible people, are with someone responsible enough to know that they're the father. Like Mari has made like a culture out of something that I feel like is a small percentage of people. A very small percentage of people are like, I'm not sure. First off, from a female perspective, if you're not sure who the father is, I really don't know what to tell you. Now, from a male perspective, if you aren't sure you're the baby's father, I understand because, you can't, you know what I'm saying, biologically speaking, like you can't, you have to trust her. But at the same time, I feel like if you don't think you're the baby's father, then you can ask for a DNA test and have one paid for, I guess. Like, if not paid for by me or any of us. I just talked about the debt.
Yeah. No, I
Like,
mean that's fair. I don't think we
state
should have to
budgets are
pay
struggling.
for
We still don't have a
every
state budget
single
in Virginia.
person's.
A
Yeah.
DNA mandatory at a child's birth, like that's
Yeah. I wouldn't want to pay for
craziness.
that
Like
for
that's like
every
have
single
some
person.
responsibility. Like really, like have some responsibility. I'm mad. I'm mad the person who asked the question was a female though. Like that's why I'm like hell no. Like what do you mean? You don't know who just if you don't know who your baby's dad is, just say so. DNA mandatory at a child. DNA test mandatory at a child's birth. Boy, I done heard it all, Shade. I really have. Like that's the craziest thing. Is that the craziest thing you've heard all day?
Probably.
That's the craziest thing I have heard all day long. That's wild. I miss being single. That's the next topic. I'll let you start, Shade.
Well,
these people are throwing us change ups right now. Like hit this one
Indeed.
out the park. Like
Well, so I am single right now, so I feel I can actually talk quite a bit about this. If you are not single and you're missing being single, that should tell you something. That means that you do not like being in your current relationship. You're either bored, you're interested in other people, you'd like to do more things, you want to explore your life, something. But being in a relationship is not the thing that you want to do, so don't be in one. That said, being single when you do not want to be single is probably the worst. Being single when you do want to be single, which is where I'm at right now, is a wonderful feeling. And I do completely understand that. I can understand where someone is coming from, where they would say they would like to be single. And there's my advice is, well, go be single. Go do that. Like, because if you're not really in the mood to be, or not in the mood, but like if you're not in the place in your mind where you're ready to truly commit to someone in some way, all you're going to really do is end up hurting them.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a much more aggressive approach. I'm gonna say grow up. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You want someone to be there for you and to cuddle and watch movies with and do X, Y, and Z, but then you want to be able to go out and have fun. You can't have it both ways. You're either having fun and single, or you're in the relationship. There's great things about being in a relationship, and there's great things about being single. Pick one. I just grow up. I miss being single. Then be single. Nobody's forcing you to be in a relationship, then be single. Or shut up and enjoy being in a relationship. You're coming up on a time that's great to be in a relationship. They don't call it cuffing season for no reason. You're talking about I miss being single in the middle of cuffing season. We're about to go back on lockdown and on quarantine. I heard on CNN today, they're projecting, they said something like 100,000 new cases or something
Oh my
a
God.
day. At some point, they were like, if things like get bad, like worst case scenario, like they're talking about the lockdown of all lockdowns. You're going to have somebody to be cuddled up with. Like it might be a snowstorm. You have somebody to be with. Like, and you're out here talking about, I miss being single. Like, that's just some foolishness. Honestly, you're in or you're out. You're in or you're out. So, and don't get me wrong, you can definitely miss being single in that sense, but you can't. You shouldn't even utter those words out loud. You can miss being single if you're listening right now. You can miss being single. And you're in a relationship. Don't utter those words out loud. That makes you look foolish.
Yeah, definitely
It makes you look
foolish.
foolish. Truly, I miss being single. I miss having pancakes for breakfast.
Did a lady or a gentleman
I guess I'll have them tomorrow. Like
give us that question?
a guy.
Interesting.
Which, by the way, you know what? I'm not even gonna say that. I was gonna say being single, like it's not as easy. It's not as easy as you think from when you're in a relationship. It's strange because when you're in a relationship, it's like you have all these temptations and whatnot. Then when you're single, some of those offers, some people just, they like to ruin a good thing. That's all I'm going to say. So you miss being single, playing the field. Sometimes the field plays you. That's another fun fact. Like, so if you're in a good relationship, you have somebody who cares about you, loves you, and treats you right, like, and you love them too, and you feel some type of way about them, you don't get to miss being single. Like I said, or saying it out loud anyway. Like, it's cool. Like, most people with families, like, a family man, family woman, they probably miss being single, being a kid, not having kids, like, but they don't say it out loud. Like, they don't, oh, I miss the days when I didn't have kids. Like, with their kids, like, I don't know. I don't know. This topic's definitely hurt my soul. I'm not going to lie to you people. They definitely both hurt my soul. I miss being single and DNA test mandatory at a child's birth.
Well, here, let me maybe lighten the mood here just a little bit. I actually have a show recommendation for us. So,
Yes, you do.
for the Fireside viewers, if you're into action, a little bit of comedy, some nostalgia, just some feel-good, truly entertaining stuff, Cobra Kai on Netflix is the continued story of the Karate Kid, the old 80s movie. Fantastic. They have the original two actors as well as some other cameo appearances from various people that also appeared in the film and other places as well. Fantastic crew. The guys definitely have a great chemistry about them. And then, well, not to give away too much, but there's the continuation of them being adults and even training their own karate kids. Very cool. Great action. Great comedy. Highly recommend.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I heard it's like it's from the other guy's perspective,
It
and I
is,
hear like from
right.
his perspective, it's crazy
You
stuff.
kind
Like
of
if you
start
think
to
about the movie, like
understand, like
he
you'll
lost his girl, like he's like yeah,
exactly, you'll think back on it and you'll be like, "Oh my god, so that's why he did that." Oh my god, so he wasn't even trying to be a bad guy. Like it's
like
pretty crazy. It's
life is all
got
about
a twist.
perspective. Yeah, I was gonna say it's crazy, crazy stuff. So today, the rundown.
The rundown.
MCU is finally on Disney Plus. The entire Marvel Cinematic
Is that
Universe.
so?
Yep, you can watch it in order. You can see everything. The fall of the Avengers, the rise, the
Of
assembling.
Ultron?
I was talking about the rise when they finally, did what they needed to do against Thanos, against the big dog. You can relive the entire MCU experience. I don't want to get off topic, but what are your thoughts on you know what? We'll make it a topic next time. There was someone who said, like these superhero movies are supposed to be for kids and we're making them for adults. Something. I'd have to get the exact quote
Oh,
so
okay.
we
You
could
know
discuss
what?
it. It's definitely an
I want to
interesting.
talk about that
It's
one.
definitely an interesting topic. We'll get to it tomorrow, but because the rundown is supposed to be quick. So LeBron and Lakers, the Lake Show, excuse me, the Lake Show. They win it all and they dedicate it to Kobe. What a beautiful moment.
Fantastic.
You know that boy.
Kobe deserves it.
That boy Piles had the nerve to say he thinks that the Lakers should give the trophy to Breonna Taylor's parents.
Oh.
For what? Doesn't even make any
Yeah, I
sense.
wouldn't do that, but that's a
I was
sweet
why'd I was
gesture.
like, why'd you even utter that, brother? Like, you should have kept that to yourself. Like,
It's a
what
nice gesture.
what would be nice for Breonna Taylor's parents? Justice. How's that
Yeah,
for one? Like,
seriously, that would be the big one.
but you know what? I'm not gonna lie. We talked about this before. She ain't gonna get justice, but because of what happened to her, maybe just maybe we'll change the laws, and that would be. I don't know her parents, but I would argue that would be a big thing too. Making sure it doesn't happen to somebody again. Baseball. The Astros stopped cheating. They must have heard I accused them. They're down 2-0 now. Like,
Oh, good.
the Rays. I was gonna say the Rays are up 2-0, and the cities of LA and Tampa really have the potential to get 2 trophies in 1 year. 3 if the Bucks can find their way to pull themselves together for Tampa. But I don't know. COVID, it seems like the season could be. It just seems up and down. And
It
with
could be it.
well, the thing is, like, baseball was in a time like when like it wasn't. If that makes sense, like we're getting to flu season and whatnot now, and I have questions about whether it will finish. But the last thing I'm going to say about football is please, your prayers for Dak Prescott. Did you see the injury yesterday?
I did not.
They like blurred it out, but I'm pretty sure his leg was like turned
Oh
the
my
wrong way, and his
God.
bone. I don't know.
That's
They carted him off,
terrible.
and he was crying. I'm not gonna lie, I cried for the man. Honestly,
Yeah.
like it's
I'll bet.
terrible. Like I was like, wow.
Yeah, football can be brutal. I mean, that's the price of being an entertainer, really.
Yeah, they're modern day gladiators. I was like, wow. I was like, that's terrible. And Dak Prescott is such like a nice and good person, and he's like a good like Christian guy too. I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I said a prayer to God. I was like, God, like how you let that happen to somebody like that good? But I believe Dak's gonna come back better than ever. He deserves his money. I believe he's gonna get his money, and he might not get it in Dallas, but shout out to Jerry Jones. I empathize with Jerry Jones really wanting to get a Super Bowl. I do because, I know everybody has something they want to do before they die, and he wants, one more, I guess. But at the same time, like the way he did Dak Prescott, the way he treated Dak Prescott, I just feel like was wrong. And I know a lot of people would say, well, he offered him, fair money, da 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 da. I don't know. I guess I wasn't in the negotiating room. So that's the last thing I'm going to say. Just prayers, positive thoughts, Dak Prescott's way, because that man really does deserve them all. And with that being said, Shade, you want to start playing us off? So, I wanted to leave you all with another quote of the day, but I figured I just wanted to reiterate the last one. Kind words don't cost much, but they accomplish much. And sometimes that what they accomplish, it wasn't for you, it was for that other person. That's the crazy thing. I'm not talking about, some of y'all probably heard accomplish much. You were thinking to yourself like, yeah, you butter somebody up. No, I'm talking about what you can do for others. I'm talking about uplifting somebody. I'm talking about empowering somebody. I'm talking about we're not competing, we're co-oping. We're all in this thing together. Let's look out for each other. Being said, if you enjoyed this broadcast, hopefully you look out for us with a like and a subscribe. We really appreciate it. With that being said, it's your boy Jackie C.
And Shade.
And this has been 86.5 The Vibe, the Fireside Chat. Hopefully we can see you by the fire tomorrow, friends. Y'all have a wonderful night.